snap and they said something like this, it's like the jazz hands. Back in the day, true. Listen, we're only at like 39 followers here over on Abstract. If you happen to be an owner of an Abstract account and you want to go to streams, type in Schiller, follow. You're amazing. Welcome to another edition of XFeed. What's up? I am the Schiller, and I'm going to show you stuff today. It's going to be good news. It's going to be bad news, as per usual. But I have to give a little bit of a shill off the beginning because we talk about it all the time. But if you guys are wanting a different type of content, we do the RWA Segments podcast. If you type this in anywhere on where you listen to podcasts, you'll be able to find it. Phenomenal episode last week with Travis John. Phenomenal. And then we got another one that's dropping potentially literally today, potentially tomorrow, with Mr. Svi Weissel, who's out at the Solana conference, talking about DPIN and a whole bunch of other crazy stuff. And part of that, not that we went really in depth on the particular episode, was talking about helium. And I saw this post saying, turns out the return on an investment, it's a funny word in Web3 because people argue, is buying NFTs an investment? Is buying a token an investment? Is it only investment if you're like actually investing within the team and the company itself? Disregard that anyway. Turns out the ROI on helium Wi-Fi units is 1 to 3 months for even half decent locations. Good locations make many times that. I'm amazed more of the crypto mining community hasn't caught on. So you might be familiar with the fact that there are stocks out there that are a part of mining facilities for crypto. They mine Bitcoin, mine other currencies, but there's ways that you as a individual can get involved in things that are similar for that. And Helium is a network that offers that. Here's like a hotspot that's indoors, for example. It's like $249 to buy it, but you earn their currency over time, and more people can end up using that. So the whole era of people helping people and creating these networks instead of corporations is something that is going to get bigger, better, faster, stronger. You know the song. Hive Mapper. This is another DPIN that is basically creating maps of the world. So you go to Google Maps and you might be familiar with the fact that, okay, your image from a bajillion years ago, I'm pretty sure I'm sitting on a lawn of a friend's house, is probably still what Google Images uses. And so Hive Mapper is something where you can buy that device, similar to what we just saw with the Wi-Fi network, where you put it on the dash cam, you can earn from it, but it basically maps out and shows different locations, gives real-time analytics and whatnot, and it's people helping people with newer infrastructure, showing that. And Lyft, competitor to Uber, if you're not familiar with it, is actually working with that network now. So these are the type of partnerships that you see and you're like, oh my goodness. Got to pay attention to what's going on in Web3. Another big thing that happened, the Vibes TCG. Look at how many people are out there playing a Web3 game. Now, we've seen other games out there like Parallel that's had big person events, but very, very cool to see Vibes finding the success. And we got more news coming out of Pudgy Penguins here in a little bit. We do a little collecting, says the other Steve. And it's got some figurines from Doodles. It's got the Rainbow Puke, the Alien, the skeleton character that's played by Lil Wayne in their TV show. It's not bad. It's kind of cool. Do you like collecting? Would you buy these yourself? These are the questions. Seeing celebrities as well, bringing back up Bored Ape Yacht Club. Guess Snoop Dogg and their new Is It a Crime with like an IZ on the is. Interesting. Showing off one of the Dr. Bombay, I believe is the character's name within that. So kind of cool recognition. At the same time, do people really care about that sort of thing? We'll see. This is a wild one that I feel some people might have fallen for if they get it. But let's run through for your daily security reminder. The fake ledger that stole everything. James thought he was safe. He used a Ledger hardware wallet, kept his 24 words private, and followed every crypto security tip out there. Then one day, a package arrived. And for anybody listening on audio, it's a package that looks officially branded by Ledger, and there's a letter in it, which right off the bat, I might be wrong, but the way this looks is like message by Ledger's CEO. And then says, Dear Ledger client. I mean, I guess that sort of works, but also it feels very unpersonal for such a big company. You would think, all right, maybe they'd use like their actual name. But then on the bottom, it says like Pascal Gauthier, the CEO of Ledger, which I guess is the case. But the letter, again, knowing that this is fake, As you know, Ledger was targeted by a cyber attack that led to a data breach in July of 2020. We were informed about the dump of the content of Ledger customer data on Raid Forum. We believe this to be the contents of our e-commerce database from June 2020. At the time of the incident in July, we engaged an external security organization to conduct a forensic review of the logs available. This review of the logs enabled us to confirm that approximately 1 million email addresses had been stolen, as well as 9,532 more detailed personal information. For this reason, for security purposes, we have sent you a new device. You must sign in with the new device to stay safe. There is a manual inside your new box you can read to learn how to set up your new device. For this reason, we have changed our device structure. We now guarantee this kind of breach will never happen again. So when they use the word kinda, that just feels like a PR nightmare. So we got red flags from the letter, even though certain things look somewhat legit. Let's see what else is here. It looked legit. The box had the Ledger logo. The device looked real. Even the letter inside seemed official. But, I mean, this crack, that looks super funky, and it's a little bit off to the side. If I can, hold on. Yeah. Like, look at that. That doesn't look that great. The letter said in a whole bunch of things, but the letter used real breach data, his name, and even his email, so he followed the instructions. He plugged in the new Ledger. It looked like his old one. He entered his 24 seed phrase into the app, and that was the moment he lost everything. So if you get a random box from Ledger, just know that it is not real, which hopefully you guys had a bunch of red flags going off on that. So there was this NHL playoff game that happened the other day, and the Toronto Maple Leafs got absolutely laced by it, and there was people that were paying thousands of dollars to get tickets for it, because again, Toronto Maple Leafs in Toronto, very, very in high demand in general. Somebody commented, support your team. It's a lot easier when tickets are $20 than $5,000, and you see this gong show. And my initial reaction to reading this was, this is kind of like NFTs. If you only paid $20 for the NFT, it's kind of like, all right, whatever happens, happens. But if you spend upwards of $5,000 and things are not going good, it's a gong show. We got problems, and it's harder to stomach. So this was like a crazy, crazy post within esports, because we've talked a lot about how esports have been struggling. Honda, the car brand, was sponsoring Team Liquid, and then there was a situation where one of the players responded to another player using inappropriate imagery or didn't know the context behind the post that they typed. And so Honda literally dropped this team. And what's interesting about this is the backlash seemed not against the player, and people immediately were like, okay, like that person probably didn't mean it in that way, comes across the wrong way. But it immediately went to, oh my God, this is just simply Honda saying, we're not making any money on the sponsorship, we're going to cut ties. Now, again, before there was a lot of other big partnerships within esports that are no longer. We saw with the Overwatch League, there was a lot of candy brands and certain things that were associated with that. But then the question comes in, like, what can esport teams find that aren't going to have, like, reactionary things to something that's borderline, right? Because for a lot of these, you know, top Fortune 500 companies or whatever, you do something wrong, they're going to immediately cut ties. So does that open up the realm for crypto more? Are people going to want to be associated with that? These are some of the questions that are happening. Okay. Oh, I was debating going over this because I'm not familiar with the situation, right? And how weird is it to talk about something that you got no idea about? Well, I literally all of crypto Twitter. So we're going to go over it. But this Amar Zahim person, okay? Revolving games, these are my own, not financial advice, contributing to Arcade Network and the Hatch IP. All right. So we have an idea of like what they're associated with. We have some really important updates to share. Some are great, others are understandably challenging, but every decision has been weighed with your long-term interest at heart. Yo, Roar, what's going on? Listen, Roar, I'm going to need you to judge this. I'm going to need to see if you think this person is full of shot. You got to tell me, okay? Because we got some things to go over. First, to protect the community from short-term trading behavior that doesn't reflect our shared vision, we're injecting $250,000 into NFT liquidity on Blur. You can even see the bid live as you read this. This is us standing behind the long-term value we're building. So first of all, this is confusing as hell because we're told that teams really care about royalties And then they're going to Blur, which doesn't enforce royalties, to then inject $250,000. That just seems sort of weird to me. Based on your feedback, we've also updated the NFT token generating bonuses. We heard you. These changes are being made to ensure more balance between gamers and NFT holders. More details will be shared soon. Now for the bigger update, we're making a strategic decision to delay the TGE by approximately 3 weeks. This isn't a step back. It's a step towards a better opportunity. So this is something when we're going full circle, we had the Doodle token launch, I think it was last week. And the immediate thing, have you met my man, Rodney Mullins? The thing that happened last week, maybe it was the week before, everybody started just shredding Doodles, being like, well, that's what you get. I mean, people were speculating, blah, blah, blah. There's so much negativity around it, so much negativity. But for argument's sake, we've said, well, what if market conditions need to be better? Our team's going to wait until these certain things happen, and then boom, they're going to have the big, unveil, Moon City, whatever it be, welcome to crypto, right? So did the Doodles token not really finding much success on its launch have a trickle effect? Because we've seen these guys who's delaying their TGE, which let's bring up this revolving games because I don't actually know what the hell it is when they're talking about the NFT liquidity. They have 500,000 followers. I've never heard of it. Holy smokes. I need to be better at paying attention to things. But what's the ramifications? Because we're supposed to have the Think AI agent TGE this month, and we've not heard a thing. We got 10 days left, so arguably, it could still happen. But that feels like it's going to get delayed. These guys are announcing a delay. What else happens? Okay, so what the hell is the revolving games this person is talking about? So pioneering the future of IP expansion. Everybody's doing IP of some sort. Decentralized gaming and digital ownership. Warnova launching May 8th on the App Store and Google Play pre-reg now. So you play the game, went up to 250 million arcade to play for, and 100% unlock a TGE. This is our biggest play to airdrop season ever. So going over just like what they have on their pinned tweet here, choose your faction. So this is like a futuristic game. We got ships going on here, a couple of different ones. And then you're slowly moving around, and it's got like time delays on certain stuff. I mean, it doesn't look like terrible, but it feels like one of those like strategy simulation type of games. So maybe something that I'll pay more attention to, but I guess that's a part of it. And interesting that they're injecting so much liquidity into it. So I don't want to go over the rest of it, but basically the big thing here is that just know the teams are already looking at delaying things, and what does that mean for the market as a whole? Looks like they're trying to please more audience because NFT public is divided between those who like and those who don't like royalties, but TGE postponing is mostly bad. It's weird. What else feels like brands are taking these decisions to go in different paths because they still have no clue what they need to do. So they are trying. Here, best take. Okay. Well, there's another one. There's two different emergences out there. So one's like about like IP and storytelling, and then one's about using certain like technology and sort of the AI agent realm, but being able to work with developers, having blockchain integration and whatnot. And they're another group that like said they were going to do their TGE like a month ago, and then like have since delayed, and we're still waiting to see what that is. Peckham, what's going on? Evening Squire. You ever been to Medieval Times? What an absolute dinner and a show that is. Unbelievable. But yeah, Roar, I mean, it's weird that I have so many different thoughts that's going through my head, and I know that you guys are probably watching this. It's like, all right, just have a different thoughts. Just calm down. All right. So I was of the mindset that anybody that's doing something in Web3 now is absolutely crazy. Like I'm talking genuinely certified crazy. Go to like a therapist, whatever, they'd be like, you're insane. Because the stress, the resources that you'll need, knowing it's a new space, seeing all the shenanigans that have been happening, and like, sure, all right, in the US, like the regulatory clarity. I mean, we're going to go over Argentina guy in a minute here. That's unbelievable. They dropped everything to do with that. But the point being is that I thought that there would be nothing bad. There'd be nothing bad that would come out of people that are launching stuff now because they know what they're getting into. But again, to Roar's point here, did these people actually know what they're doing? Are they trying to get into the industry and then figure it out? Yes, it's nascent, but we've seen so many teams try and fail. And then you see other people that are doing something similar. And then the question kind of goes into, it's like, all right, How do you get a blueprint to like kind of define success in some sort of a way so it's not an absolute horror show for everybody in the space? That's how do we create that? Big news: Mongrel joining OpenSea as their first global gaming ambassador, which I think is like pretty crazy. In quotes, I genuinely believe blockchain can make gaming better. Ownership is a big one. Is ownership not like just the only thing within gaming, right? Like, I feel like it's a thing because ownership implies so many other things of you being able to sell it and whatnot that it's just the thing. But I'm also weirded out because I feel like I've not seen Mongrel talk anything about Web3 except for the fact that they won the Dookie Dash $1 million prize. So I don't know if Mongrel's still really big in esports. It's something we're going to have to watch. Big news coming out of Pudgy Penguins. Honored to be partnering with Penguin Random House on bringing the Pudgy Penguin story to bookshelves worldwide. Another huge milestone in proliferating the Pengu to the masses. So Pengu Random, books made is better. Discover your next read here. 1.2 million followers. This is apparently the world's largest children's book publisher, and similar to like the little Pudgy YouTube channel that they started the other day. With the episodes, I feel like they're absolutely smashing it, and we need more entertainment within Web3 to proliferate these brands. True! So there's all this talk about the fact that Counter-Strike skins are going for like $1 bajillion, and they're like ended up being like a better investment than a lot of traditional things. I still think people are sleeping on gaming as a whole, even though we've seen such terrible news around it. Speaking of terrible news, Javier Milei, the president of Argentina, shuts down unit investigating Libra crypto scandal. Just unbelievable. Crime is legal. You can do whatever the hell you want in Web3. Nobody's going to say a damn thing. Just send it. Unreal. So we had an episode where I think I'm trying to think of like what the hell I titled the episode, because it was the thing with Dave Portnoy from Barstool that was doing all these like scams at the time, as well as this guy with that whole absolute ridiculous debacle. But we had a stream that we covered all of this. So if you want to go back, you can see this, but this happened months ago. And the fact that we can just say, it's whatever, when they know there was like hundreds of millions extracted. Unreal. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. As unbelievable as a space doodle with the rainbow puke getting sold for basically floored at 1.4 ETH. ETH, same thing, whatever. And this is like the go-to trade. So somebody absolutely fumbled a bag. Hopefully this wasn't a compromise, but my goodness. So guys made this post the other day and got absolutely ripped. It's funny because whenever you talk about something within the space, right? It's just like personal insults to whatever your interest is. So there's like a somewhat negative post about the ape chain NFT market not doing good. Then you go to the comments and everybody's just like, doodles are frauds. How is your CEO? Just bringing up everything trying to attack. I'm like, man, everybody in the space hates each other if it's not something they own. And so that goes back to the title of the stream, where I think we're in the era that people just simply don't care about things unless it's their bags. So I want to say thank you so much if you're tuning in right now, because you could be looking at Discord chats of the exact projects you're in, but you're here going over kind of the entire space, and we're trying to make some humor, fun, and entertainment about it. But it's really something that I think people just simply aren't caring about anything that doesn't directly affect them, which is life as well, but it feels a lot more prevalent within Web3 because, again, a lot of people have financial incentives of some sort. But the point with this thing, holy smokes, what the hell happened to Ape Chain? So it seemed like there was a lot of interest. I don't know, maybe now there's just, people come through, they're like, hey, we're going to launch stuff, and then a lot of it doesn't work within new networks. You're going to have some grails that end up doing so, but it does... It's kind of crazy. The total volume fallen off 82% for the Ape Chain NFT market. That said, we know that there's supposed to be a ton of focus around Ape Chain, with other side, the always on world around it. Something to watch as we continue moving forward. So speaking of doodles a second ago, and Pudgy Penguins, which we've talked about twice here, and interesting as well that we have different news for different teams. What's the difference between Pudgy Penguins and doodles? To be honest, I can't see a reason for a 9 ETH difference in floor price. Both have a token, both do amazing campaigns and products, both built an outstanding ecosystem, and have a great community. So there's probably a lot of you that are looking at that being like, all right, well, obviously the floor price is higher on the one. The other one's gotten more proliferation, arguably, right? Because this is the thing that's awkward, is I feel like Doodles has done like the McDonald's where it's mass adoption of sorts, right? Or like mass distribution would be the better terminology. But then they've done a TV show, which I think you would only end up seeing if you were within the blockchain space, because you had to buy a pass to be able to watch that show. And they've done different merchandise collabs where you had to pay for that. And then for Pudgy Penguins, now they have the YouTube show, but that's not really relevant for the discussion. They've done collectibles that have kind of reached that mass market. And then they're also having the abstract chain that everybody's able to kind of earn for, where a lot of these ecosystems, you're kind of stuck of like, if you don't have the NFT, there's no way for you to be able to earn on it. But I think abstract has done a good job of it. And I don't know. Do we say it's the Luca Nuts effect, the different founders? Doodles has had some turbulence within things. I mean, it's interesting because you do argue, and I think from the fact that both have done amazing campaigns and products, I think it's totally true. But then does it come down to, all right, does that mass distribution matter? Is it just the vibes around it, the people? I mean, it's a good question to ask overall. This is from the interview that I did with Mr. Ben Jordan. Listen up, listen up, listen up.
When we're talking about 3D in game, especially, a lot of the advancements in AI around real-time generation are going to fundamentally change the way assets work. The opportunities around creating open environments as opposed to walled gardens, and the collaboration that can exist as a result of that we haven't seen before ever. Like if you needed to create a game, then you needed to take on all the risk, build a massive team, create your own unique gameplay, and you are the end-to-end experience, as opposed to now the barriers for entry are a whole lot lower. And as a result of that, you need the tooling to enable that collaboration, and that's where the interoperability side of things come in. And the protocols that define interoperability for people creating content are the same protocols that define interoperability for AI creating content. So that's where we're really trying to position Futureverse and the network underneath that.
Okay, so BJ the GOAT, true. I remember my man Rodney Mullins, true. So this is about Silo. Obviously, listen, we got to talk about the things that we're passionate about, and that's one of them. But I don't want to ruin the episode for anybody that like genuinely enjoys listening, which I hope you guys do. But for the recording that's going to come out later this week for the RWA Segments podcast includes a conversation where there was a few different happenings. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. So CoinFlow, which is a company that's helping with companies making instant payments, connecting blockchain, MasterCard, credit cards, yada, 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 joined the Circle Alliance program, like USDC Circle. And within that, there's like BlackRock, I think Visa, a bunch of like really big companies and a couple of smaller ones, right? Where like Courtyard.io, if you're familiar with that platform, where they do different trading cards on the blockchain, they're associated with it. Baxis, which is doing whiskey and whatnot. I was actually the guest on the show. Svi Wiesel is the CEO of that. And he mentioned, Jerry, it's like, oh, we use that. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I didn't realize it. But it was an alliance that was around making USDC like the go-to stablecoin. And everybody's working conglomerately to bring that together. And then within the Think standard, for the Think agent standard, which has, Render Network, it's got Silo that's associated with it, Futureverse, and Anchor, a Cash, a whole bunch of these other entities. I feel like we're getting into the point where there's the houses, right? You ever seen Game of Thrones and there's like House Stark, House Lannister, and everybody's kind of owning these different divisions of the world, but they're trying to get all the, nearby towns working together to fight under one banner. And I feel like that has been happening at a rapid pace. Where partnerships before, you're like, okay, this collection is partnering with them. That's kind of cool, but also like, it's not really relevant, right, for me until the tools, whatever else, the IP. I'm going to have to buy something a lot of the times within these partnerships because it's some sort of like IP collaboration. Now it feels like it's fundamentally bigger businesses and companies working together for the AI age, for the crypto age, for everything. And it's like super exciting, but at the same time, now like almost time to lock in and figure out who's going to go where, what's going to be meaningful, and what's not going to be. Roar, in my opinion, it's easy to make Web3 gaming great, and by consequence, NFTs and crypto, it's connected. This team should think more of more or higher qualified people. For example, imagine the movie Ready Player One. That's the perfect scenario where players play and earn things, coins, tokens, items, and have fun, and companies don't own everything. It's about sharing, fun, and luck. That's why I'm at this market already, working as a consultant, trying bigger opportunities. No merch story, but had to base it. Yo, hell yeah. And that's the thing, though, is like Silo's a part of Futureverse and the Readyverse, which has the Ready Player One IP. They have the author, Ernest Cline, and they have the movie producer, Dan Farah, and they're trying to literally build out the entire world for Ready Player One within this Readyverse. And so when they talk about the open metaverse, the idea and what their big strive for of that is to really make that happen. And so, like, as an example, these are some of the different characters in Roar. If you have like an idea, or if you've created a character at some point, you're able to throw it within their engine. They have an AI that's able to recreate the image you've done. And in this case, it's like a giraffe wearing jeans. And this is like a room. If you've seen Ready Player One, which I'm assuming you have, with the reference of Ogden Morrow's house. No. Was it? I forget whose bedroom it was, but at the end of the movie, they have them in that, and that shows it. And so the Readyverse is working with a whole lot of different people. It's got some massive brands, including Warner Brothers, for it. They have these different worlds and places that you can go into. And so it's something that I'm paying attention to a lot, but then it goes back into all these protocols, these designs, what's working together, what's going to get adopted, right? Because then we turn into the argument here of, does a world that's connected with the Ready Player One IP have that much demand? Are people going to go out and say, okay, this is cool, or they don't care? And this is, I mean, to compare it, right? We had the conversation earlier where somebody was like, okay, what's the difference between Doodles and Pudgy Penguin? And maybe it's simply the fact that somebody appreciates, or more people like a brand better than another one, even though both of them are sort of doing the same thing. So that's the questions with it. And then here's some other examples of like the world within a junkyard. They're showing off one of the fluffs with it. I don't know what else they have here. Oh, and then with this is the idea of like having interoperable worlds. So within Cool Cats, they have kind of a different style to everything they're going on. And so you can see within this world, these worlds have a completely different visual effect than what the other one did, where it was, I don't know if we call it like more realistic. I don't know if that's the right terminology, but like just a little bit of a different style with it. And so something to watch as we're moving on here. And again, big things are happening overall. But that's going to be it for this edition of XFeed. I thank you guys so much for tuning on in. Hope you guys found something valuable from this. And again, if you are wanting to follow over on Abstract, if you go and check out the Abstract wallet and then go over to streams and then type in Schiller, you'll be able to see there. It'll be great. And have you met my man, Rodney Mullins? Appreciate you coming through. Roar, thank you for all the takes, and Peckham, I keep catching you live. It's the best. You know what I mean? Appreciate it. Thanks, guys. We'll talk soon. Peace.